All right, everybody. So there's just a few, one or two more logging in. We've got a big crowd ready here to see Shawn Michael Andrews, the world's fastest hypnotist. Just before I do introduce Shawn into the webinar, there's still a bunch of you guys clicking in here and signing up, so that's good. I just want to let you know the purpose of this webinar is not. We're not in the business of selling anything, and hopefully you saw the webinar that I did with Jim. You know, we're going to give you a whole bunch of sort of value-loaded information, and of course we do have training right at the end of it, but we're not really sort of focusing on pushing that. The questions I'm going to be asking during this webinar are really relating to Shawn's skills with street hypnosis and clinical hypnotherapy, and how it can translate to you as a stage hypnotist as well as a clinical hypnotherapist. So stick with it. There's going to be no hard sell on this, so just relax and enjoy the information Shawn's going to give you. Of course, he always gives you awesome content, and we just got one or two more signing in. And if you do have a question for Shawn during this webinar, then just go ahead and either use the click on the chat box if you can see it. It should be down below, and if you don't see that chat box, you can just send me a quick message on Facebook or even Google Plus, and I'll endeavor to get that message straight to Shawn so that he's able to answer it. So without further ado, let's welcome into the fold Shawn Michael Andrews. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. How you doing?
All right, man. You're looking good. And how's Germany treating you?
Great. Weather's not so hot, but it's
well,
but it's good here.
Always good to have you, my friend. And we go back a few years now with our different trainings and things like that. And you always definitely impress me with what you deliver. So that's awesome to have you back in the mix.
Oh, thanks very much.
Now, just before we set the scene, just in case there are a few people out there that don't know who you are, and I'd be surprised if they don't know who you are, but in case there's a few newbies or just a couple of people out there that haven't come across the world's fastest hypnotist, how did you get started, Shawn, in hypnosis?
Actually, I like many hypnotists, I got into hypnosis by way of NLP. I took a course in NLP back in 1987, and I got hooked on it. And so I began studying it, and then when I found that many of the concepts of NLP were based on Ericksonian hypnosis, I began studying Ericksonian hypnosis. And I liked that a lot. And then somebody, I think it was my buddy Keith Livingston, turned me on to the Dave Ellman induction, and I began studying Dave Ellman, and I found that brand of hypnosis suited me a lot better. So then I got hooked on hypnosis, and I took a course back in 2005, a hypnosis course, where they sent us out to do impromptu hypnosis. And that was such a blast that I got hooked on instant inductions, and that's what I've been doing. Originally, I was mostly interested in clinical hypnosis, but now it's a pretty good mix of clinical hypnosis and also street hypnosis, which I really love.
I will share with others, and what's cool about that is we both went to the same school as the Gerald Kines School in DeLand, Florida.
Yeah.
And what's fun about you and I, just a bit of background is now you were military or law enforcement or both. Which way was your route taking it?
Military originally, and then Defense Department. Yeah, as a civilian.
Which is kind of cool. I mean, I was military and then civil police officer, but in the 90s, I learned NLP, kind of around about the time I think you picked up NLP as well. And then somehow our paths both took us to Gerald Kines School. And, I've heard you tell the story about, going down to I think it was the university or somewhere down there in DeLand.
Yes.
And, like terrorizing all the, going into the cafeteria, and which is fun because, when I did my training with Jerry, we did exactly the same thing. And we went down into the school there and did a bunch of street, instant rapid inductions, and he cut us loose in the Chinese buffet as well, which was kind of awesome. But Well, one of the things that does impress me with you though, Shawn, is how you've carved a really good niche or niche market, depending on where you're from, and kind of you really have developed that basic knowledge that Jerry gave us, and sort of expanded it into all kinds of different techniques. I mean, I've lost count of how many techniques I think I've seen you do, but it's almost like you got that template, of instant rapid inductions, and then kind of got real creative with it.
Well, as I mean, you know these things very well, and you know that there are an infinite variety of ways that we can do instant and rapid inductions, and so it never gets boring. So, but no, it's funny. I just it is so much fun. Every time I go out, I have such a blast. And one of the things, you go back to Deland. One of the things that surprised the heck out of me was when they cut us loose at the college. I just couldn't fail. And I thought, this is. I mean, isn't that the way it was for you? I thought, how can this be working? I mean, I spent a couple of hours learning these inductions, and these people are dropping like flies. Is this really possible? Did he pay these people? But then I realized that these things, when you learn them properly, you don't fail. I mean, it very, very rarely will you fail.
Yeah, it's a good point, because I think one thing Jerry taught me, and just picking up on a couple of points you just said there, is one is I still see the fire and passion in you, which is why you're successful. I mean, you're creating all these new techniques, and you're going out there and still doing, walking the talk, and you're in the streets, and you're perfecting and developing different, inductions, which I think is awesome, because you haven't lost that fire from the Deland days. And I interviewed Jim Wand recently, and he's the same. I mean, he's 30 years into this, and he's got just as much passion as he had when he walked in on day one. So I'm detecting a kind of a thread of success. Obviously, rolls into that natural ability to have the passion for this. But yeah, when I did Jerry's class, he taught me the handshake interrupt, the hand drop induction, and one or two others. And I think what was most important in it wasn't so much the technique, is that we had this, we weren't going to fail sort of mentality. And if we did, then obviously or if it didn't work according to plan, of course it wasn't our fault. It was the recipient wasn't ready and primed yet. So we could never fail in the streets. And that's one of the big concerns people have, right, Shawn, with street hypnosis?
Exactly. Well, that's probably been the area where I've done more self-improvement over the years. You see, back when I first learned these, I would sometimes fail, not very often, but I would sometimes fail, and it was because I made mistakes and I didn't read people properly. So over the years, I've gotten really good at reading people, and so when I do an induction on somebody, they're going in hypnosis. It's just going to happen. There's no doubt about it. Now, yeah, my confidence is a lot greater now, but mostly it's because I know how to pick the people that are going to go into hypnosis, and that's one of the things that I'll be concentrating on when we're in Dubuque, is showing people how to tell who's going to be very easy for you to hypnotize. I mean, when you're in front of a crowd of people, like if you're doing a demonstration in front of 100 people or several hundred people, like in a stage show, you don't want to fail. So you have to be smart about it, and you won't fail if you're smart about it.
Yeah, so, it's a real good point. I think what you deliver, and you wrote a book recently, an ebook, right, on picking subjects. What was that one called, Shawn?
Yeah, I think it's called Who Me?
Who Me?
How to pick the best volunteers, and it's a small book. It's only about 38 pages or something like that. But all the members of the class in Dubuque will get a free copy of that. But yeah, it's just all the tips and tricks that I use to make sure that when I hypnotize somebody, they get hypnotized.
Yeah, so for those people that are sort of out there, Shawn, that they might have seen some of your videos. You've got quite a few YouTube videos out there on the world's fastest hypnotist and a lot of street work. And part of my module, I'm going to be teaching them how, and obviously with your assistance, how to get those channels up and running. Because I think the world's fastest, yeah, and I think the world's fastest hypnotist, a lot of what's attributable to your success is in a large part is your YouTube and your followers on YouTube, right? Is how you got your newsletter list together.
Definitely, yeah. YouTube is I back in 2007, I used to own YouTube. there was nothing. It was actually me, and there was one other hypnotist, and I'm not going to use the name because I might credit the wrong fellow, but the two of us owned YouTube back in 2007, and now, of course, street hypnosis is very, very big. I'm not claiming that I invented it. I'll say Franz Anton Mesmer probably invented it, or one of his buddies. But anyway, yeah, and now it's taken off, and there's so many people out there producing videos, and a lot of them are really good. But yeah, that was what got me started. That was where I got most of my customers. They saw my YouTube videos. I mean, I had the one with 1.3 million views, and that one really, it's no longer, well, it's up there again. But yeah, that one really made it for me.
So before I forget, one of the questions that I see on the forums a lot, and one that people banter around is there is a school of thought that street hypnosis is a waste of time, and I've heard people say there's no point in doing it. All it's doing is fanning your own ego, and because you're not getting paid to do street hypnosis, why do it? That seems to be a common thread on Facebook right now. How would you answer that?
Well, I've seen that on a couple of fora for the Latin majors out there, and yeah, there is no way to monetize street hypnosis. It just can't be done. I mean, yes, you could get a television crew to follow you around, and in a roundabout way that would monetize it, but really you cannot make money doing street hypnosis. My sons went out one summer and spent the whole day, and I think they made $14 working all day. It was crazy. You cannot do it, but that's okay because that's not really the benefit of street hypnosis. What street hypnosis does for you is it can make you bulletproof. I mean, you get out there and in your average hypnotherapy practice, you're going to see, if you're good, you're going to see maybe 10 people in a day. That's if you're good. Some people will see more, but generally that would be an extremely successful practice. Street hypnosis, you're going to get out there, you're going to hypnotize 20, 25 people, and the experience that gives you is invaluable. So street hypnosis helps to refine your techniques and really, really boost your confidence in your abilities. And then, I mean, if you can hypnotize somebody on the street, just somebody walks up and you just say, "Hey, you want to get hypnotized?" I mean, they were going to the pub or they were going to dinner or shopping or something like that. They had no intention of getting hypnotized. You hypnotize those people. Well, someone who comes into your office for hypnotherapy or comes to your show, that's a piece of cake. They came there to get hypnotized. So, yeah, I credit that more than anything in my career for making me confident and improving my techniques.
So Joanne, you might have answered this. So Joanne here from Pennsylvania, she just asked in the chat log there. She's asked, so when you go out and do street hypnosis, what is your end goal? Is it to attract more clients, or why go out and do it? What's your end result for that? That's her question.
Okay, my end result nowadays is just to have fun, or just to get footage for YouTube. That's my personal reason why I go out and do it, because I don't have to worry about building up my confidence anymore. Sometimes I'll go out to do it to teach students how to do it. Yeah, that's the end goal for me, just to have fun. But if you're just getting started in street hypnosis, what it's going to do for you is the the confidence and the techniques, because Case in point, when I was starting out in hypnosis, I had a reporter came to interview me, and I hypnotized him, and I you know, got him to experience some phenomena, and but I made a mistake when I tried to get his hand to stick to the arm of the chair. I made a mistake. It was my wording wasn't good, and my semantics were not good. And he pulled his hand up, and in that moment, he decided he wasn't hypnotized. He still wrote a nice article on me, but not as nice as if I had stuck him to the chair. So, but then by doing street hypnosis, I got to play with my semantics and find the best way to get people to accept the suggestions. So I credit street hypnosis with making my testing of clients a lot better.
I think that's a really good point that you make the parallel between the street and clinical, and I think that's what a lot of people struggle at, is they can't see the merits and benefits of street hypnosis because, of course, there's no financial reward, as you alluded to. You know, when your sons went out there. One thing I found out is I don't do a lot of hypnotherapy really anymore, but I get bugged to death with people that want to stop smoking, lose weight, remove fears and phobias and all that stuff. So when I have a spare couple of days here and there, I'll stack them up, 8 to 10 deep. Again, Jerry told me how to spin all the plates and keep them all in the rooms and stuff, which is what I use. I mean, it works. It's the same induction. What I've realized, though, in essence, is that I used to do the Elman in the room, and I start with street techniques now. I do convincers that can't fail. I sit them down. It's already a fait accompli. In other words, when they get there, by the time they've filled out the intake form, I've done a convincer in the waiting room. I've basically demonstrated the abilities that I have. By the time they get in the room, I don't need the element particularly. I just go into a couple of instant inductions. I mean, is that how you do your clinical work now, or are you still doing some?
No, actually, my clinical work is primarily with the element induction. That's the first induction that I use with a first-time client, and that's one of the things that we're going to be doing in the first 2 days of the training, the clinical part. And you hit on something. I mean, your main focus right now is stage hypnosis. However, you get asked to help people stop smoking, lose weight, reduce stress. You get asked that all the time. And so even if somebody wants to be primarily a stage hypnotist, that's an area that it's nice to know what to do, because one, it could be another stream of income for you, or another thing. One of my friends decided he was going to devote himself to stage hypnosis, and then a few years later, he and his wife decided to start a family, and he just went, okay, off the road. Now I'm doing clinical.
Right. Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's the beauty of this profession, because you can do the street, you can do the stage, you can do the clinic, and if you get bored with one, you can go ahead and do the other. There's no way to get bored. It's just so the variety is so wide.
So for those watching, then you're going to be teaching some of the basic techniques, and how is that therefore important to the stage hypnotists or even hypnotherapists that are considering the Powerhouse Summit?
Well, the basic hypnosis is really, really important, and the reason why is a lot of people, if they really are honest with themselves, they'd have to admit that when they're on the stage or when they're in a clinic, they're not 100% sure that every one of those people is going to go into hypnosis for them. Which is, wow, that's frightening. I would not want to stand up in front of several hundred people and a committee on the is essential, and basic confidence. And so they may be relearning some things, but they're probably going to learn a lot of things that they never ever learned in their basic hypnosis course. I'm going to be teaching solid bulletproof techniques and to get their confidence up. And then also I'm going to be teaching some basic therapeutic techniques, because even if you're a stage hypnotist or a street hypnotist, people are going to ask you, can you help me stop smoking? So I'm going to give them what they need so that they can take care of those things too. It's good to be an all-rounder.
Okay, so John Humphreys here. He's asked. He's taken the certification program with the National Association, and what can he expect that's going to be different from that class that he took up in Massachusetts?
Well, I don't know what his particular instructor taught him, but I can say that the techniques that I used are extremely effective. I use a lot of the pure Dave Ellman techniques. I've done a lot of research into Ellman. As you know, I'm the supervising instructor for the Dave Ellman Hypnosis Institute. And I guess it has. I guess it's kind of similar to what I do with the instant inductions in that I throw out all the stuff that's superfluous, just the basic get the thing done techniques, and that's what I'm going to be teaching. We're not going to be doing anything fluffy. This is all stuff that you can use right away, and it's going to make you feel confident. And so yeah, I mean, I don't know what that particular instructor taught, but I'm going to teach you stuff that I know that works.
So a lot of hypnosis is actually theory based. You know, we spend a lot of time sat in classrooms and looking at the conscious, subconscious mind and the theoretical sort of aspects to it. Is there any practical application to what you're going to be delivering on the Powerhouse Summit?
Well, actually, I'm not going to be talking too much about theory at all. I'm basically a mechanic when it comes to hypnosis. If you do this, this will happen, and if you do it in this way, it works even better. I'm a real simple guy. I don't get into theory. What exactly is hypnosis? Got me.
Yeah, I hear you.
But I know if you use this technique, they are going to go into a deep trance, and then you can do the work on them. But I mean, well, you've looked at the research, and there are at least 9 explanations for what hypnosis is, and you've got people saying that there is no such thing as hypnosis, and I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. Do this, and you will get this. And then the other thing that we're going to do a lot is we're going to do a lot of practice. It's really going to be hands-on. I can't stress the practice enough. I've in the past few years I've been adjusting my classes so that we do far more practice and far more hands-on, because the more you do this stuff, the better you get. Now understand, you still got to practice once you leave, but we're going to be doing a heck of a lot of practice in the classroom.
So one of the questions I got asked by Randy Bucher, he met you at the Hypnotist Entertainment Cruise last year when you taught on that, and
yeah,
uh-huh.
Yeah, I remember Randy.
Yeah, now there's a bunch of people that are saying, well, are you gonna be teaching anything different from the hypnosis cruise or what they've seen at Hypno Thoughts or the NGH or wherever? Is there any sort of fresh, different, new inductions or contents, or because you're constantly researching and developing, is there anything new that they can expect from the Powerhouse Summit in March?
Well, there's always something new. The class is never the same, and things pop up, and then we take a tangent and learn something that we've never done before. So I can promise you new stuff, but also there's old basic stuff, and you shouldn't, a student shouldn't, like for instance, there are things that I've discovered about the Dave Ellman induction that make it super, super effective. And so if someone says, well, I know the Dave Ellman induction, well, yeah, you do, but are you 100% effective with it? And you should be nearly 100% effective. There should be nobody that leaves your office without getting hypnotized with the Dave Ellman induction. It shouldn't happen. So I mean, if you are always 100% effective with all your inductions, then yeah, you probably wouldn't want to come.
Yeah.
But, the funny thing is, I mean, I always say we're not talk therapists, right? If we have to hypnotize people to help them, if we can't get them hypnotized, we can't help them. So the person just has to go home. But what if you knew that virtually everybody you were going to get hypnotized? I mean, that's like a superpower.
Yeah.
and so that's my goal.
I must admit, I am a fan of your work, and I always like to see how I can translate this from a money perspective, and the stage and all this stuff. And what I've learned over the last few years is that my stage induction is basically the Elman induction. I mean, it really and truly is. I'm getting eye fixation, I'm getting eye lock, I'm getting catalepsy, I'm counting 10 down to 1. I'm doing all the stuff that Elman did in his induction. And what I notice above all else, I spoke to Harry and what's her name, Cheryl Elman recently over in Vegas. And one thing that it comes back to, and I had a conversation with Mike Bishop recently, great hypnotist out there in the Midwest, and it comes down to the command and control and the authority that you portray. And back in the 50s and 60s, I think they really did have it. They had that command, that control, that authority. And when I see a good stage hypnotist, it's back to what you very first said, right, Shawn? It's the street hypnosis, the hypnotherapy, and the stage all comes down to the confidence that you exude and how you sort of leak into it, NLP to a degree, right?
I do use quite a bit of NLP. I use a lot of it for building rapport, and that's just when you're on the street, building rapport helps you so much to get the person hypnotized. A lot of people will go into hypnosis a lot better for you if they like you, and so if you can make them like you immediately, then a lot of the work is done for you. But yeah, I mean, your commanding presence on stage, and I've seen your show, and I know you do it. It's important. It's important for those people in the seats to look at you and go, "Oh, he's going to hypnotize me."
Right.
It's important, and a lot of stage hypnotists nowadays want to do some kind of a maternal induction. It's crazy. I mean, no, we don't have these superpowers that we're going to zap people with, but it's not really a bad mindset for these people to have. I'm very much a paternal induction sort of guy. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis is not something that I believe. It's not true. Hypnosis is something that we do to people. And all hypnosis is self-hypnosis is something that you tell people so they won't be scared.
Right.
But when you're on the stage or when you're in the street, it's okay. It's okay to have that commanding presence and that confidence and for them to look at you and go, uh-oh, I'm going to get hypnotized. And they do.
So, Shawn, with your initial approach, are you going to be teaching that? Because I know that you've mastered the art of it's almost like a street pre-talk, but it's kind of your just initial approach. I've seen you do it in the theater at the first Hypnothoughts Live. You did it there, and where you came off the stage and went into the audience. And I've sort of seen you do it on the street too, and it's almost like it just is saying to somebody that if I come anywhere near you, you're going to be hypnotized. Now that kind of lotion or potion it's that magical dust that not everybody has. Are you going to sort of teach those NLP techniques at the Powerhouse?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I am because I mean maybe some people don't, but I know that there are some tricks that I use, some very sneaky tricks, because I will do anything that is legal to ensure and honest to ensure that I don't fail. I don't like to fail. That makes me feel sad.
Yeah.
So if I, it could be. Here's a trick. When we're doing it in Vegas, when I went into the audience to go after people, I was talking with a friend 2 days before, and I asked her if she was coming to the show, and she said yes, of course. And she said, I'm bringing my friend. And I said, your friend? And she said, yeah, well, my friend is a complete blowdown. And I just sort of made a mental note of that. And so we started our stage show, and I got ready to go out into the audience. I'm scanning the audience, and I see my friend. And there's nobody on her side, on the right-hand side of her, but there's a woman sitting right next to her. Okay, she looked pretty good to me. She looked pretty fascinated with what was going on stage. So I surmised that's her blowdown friend. And so I think she was my third one I went after. And she had already seen me knock down 2 people. And I saw her eyes when I came up on her. And I knew she was going to go. But if she hadn't gone, I had somebody behind her that I was going to take. So, so that's kind of cheating, right? I had a strong suspicion that there was an extreme somnambulist sitting on Lisa's left-hand side, and of course I was right.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. It's
a little intel and find out who the easy marks are. Yeah. Watch people, when you're hypnotizing people, watch who's sitting there going, that person will go.
Speaking to Jim as well, I think this is what's good about this summit. I mean, it's the first one we're pulling off. It's a 7-day, fully packaged summit with such diversity in there. I mean, there's Larry Garrett I've never met, but there's Corey Osborne, Kenda Summers, there's Jim, there's, we've all got our different takes on hypnosis. And what I've learned about hypnosis training is we don't all have to agree on style, technique, and where it came from and what it is and everything else. But just being in an environment like this summit where you are going to be walking and talking hypnosis for 7 days, whether it's at the bar, in the classroom, over dinner, I mean, we are shaking it up and down, left and right, hypnotherapy, stage, street, how to make money with it. I mean, I don't think there's anything left that, building products and YouTube and services. I mean, in my mind, we're pretty much covering everything, right, Shawn? There's nothing else I can think of that would be missing out of this.
No, I agree. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. Mm. It's going to be great hanging out with you and with the others and with the students. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a unique one because also we're doing the weight loss management system, which is Jim's system that he licenses as an in-home party event, and he's going to be talking about that. And then this stage time. I mean, I've never been to this casino, but I hear it's beautiful, and there's a lovely stage. Corey Osborne setting up like a 3-camera shoot. So one of the things I learned when I did basic stage training is a lot of the guys coming on my training or even others, you walk away and then the instructor tells you to go ahead now and get your promo and get your get your stuff set up. And on the Powerhouse Summit, you're going to be walking on the stage, potentially doing shows and on a 3-camera shoot. Now that took me a couple of years to get to that point. So anybody coming on this is going to have a full sort of promo pack. And are you going to give them anything on setting up a hypnotherapy practice, or if they don't already have one?
Oh yeah. No, I'll be giving them the basics of setting up a hypnotherapy practice. It's going to be a busy 2 days, right. And that's the thing. If they ought to know that if they're coming to this, they're not going to be screwing around. They're going to be working. They're going to be working really. I always ask them, with your permission, going to work you really, really hard because that's what you paid for. And I think they're paying for this, and it's they better be ready to work. I mean, we're going to have fun. We're going to have fun in the evenings and that sort of thing, but we're going to work very hard in this class.
Sure.
Because there's a lot to learn, and we are not going to cheat them.
So just finally, Shawn, we're going to wrap this up here. I don't like keeping people on webinars for too long, otherwise you end up falling asleep there watching half of this. But what's the...
No, we wouldn't let them fall asleep.
Give us 3 golden nuggets to street success that people can walk away with right now. 3 things people can do as a result of watching this webinar that they can implement in their hypnosis, whether it's stage or clinical or street.
Okay, first one: don't hypnotize people that don't want to be hypnotized.
Sounds
it's
obvious.
Crazy because when I was younger, that was the deal. I would say, if you didn't run away from me, I was going to hypnotize you. so that's why occasionally I would fail. So that's rule number 1 about street hypnosis success. Rule number 2: go in a group. Go in a group, because then you can do the most powerful technique in street hypnosis, which is hypnotize a friend. You hypnotize one of your other hypnotists. It's they're not faking. They're going into hypnosis, and that draws the crowd. And when the crowd comes in, then you just take your pick of the best people. And the third nugget for street hypnosis, I would say, there's so many. I'd say bring a sign. A sign that says free hypnosis on it. It will draw the crowd, and that's what you want. You want to draw the crowd, and then have your pick of the people that are going to be the best candidates. I mean, there's so many things that I'll be going over in this in that portion of it. But those are 3 real quickies, off the top of my head. There's just so much.
I'm going to sneak another quick one. What's the best environment for this? I mean, if somebody's going to go out now, where should they go to do this, do you think?
I would say the best places are touristy places. I'll tell you what the worst place is: the mall. Seems like it'd be the best place in the world, yeah. But the mall is the worst place in the world to do street hypnosis, because mall security is there to keep you from doing this sort of thing. So if you wanna get kicked out, go to the mall. You won't last 5 minutes in the mall.
Yeah. It seems it's funny, because it seems the places you think will be the best aren't necessarily, because I know outside of schools and stuff like that, where you're just going to get the police attracted to you, and I've seen people go there, and I've also seen people do street hypnosis in Key West. And they've been run straight out of Key West, because they're taking money off the street performers. The street performers, that's their livelihood. And here comes a guy, with free hypnosis sign, and the guy that does the Houdini routine gets really upset and, pretty much wants to take your knees out. So you really don't want to do it in and around other street performers. Or if you do, like I know it works at the Fremont Experience in Vegas. Again, you don't want to do it right next to the guy that's trying to make a living as a street performer. So you've got to choose wisely and look at your surroundings, right, Shawn?
Absolutely, yeah. Just a little sensory acuity, a little situational awareness. Yeah, these guys are out there to get their beer money, and there you come and stand right close to where they're performing, and they're not happy about that. So yeah, we you can drop $20 on them. You could start sending people over to them. There are ways to do it, but you don't just go out into somebody's territory. No, I was going to get crude, but yeah, these guys, they have territory, and you don't want to invade that. So yeah, that's important. We've had trouble with that in the past, and we've learned ways to get around it.
so just finally, Shawn, there are going to be people that are watching this webinar, and they're going to be thinking that there's absolutely no value whatsoever in street hypnosis, and I know that because I know that's where the comments are going to come as a result of posting this in a while. There are going to be people that are saying there's no business for street hypnosis, and it just has no value. What's your final say on that one, Shawn?
All right, you're being stupid. No, my final say on that is that for a hypnotherapist, one of the best ways for you to get clients in the door is to go out and give talks to groups. I don't know if it's a Lions Club or if it's a ladies' gym or something like that. And if you do street hypnosis, you are going to wow that crowd, because you're going to know techniques that other hypnotherapists do not know. And when they see it, their mouths are going to drop open and they're going to immediately know that you can help them with any problem that they have. So these 3 techniques are invaluable if you want to fill a hypnotherapy practice. And if you're a stage hypnotist, these techniques are invaluable to get the crowd going, to play around after the show is over with the people that wish they had gotten up on the stage, and maybe please the organizers so they rehire you. And then also be honest with yourself. A lot of stage hypnotists, you're not absolutely certain when you get up there in front of that committee and in front of that crowd. You do street hypnosis, you know you're going to do the job. And boy, that is a great feeling when you're up on stage in front of several hundred people and you just know, I'm going to get most of them. Maybe I'll get every one of them.
Yeah.
But I know I'm going to get most of them. And then you can concentrate on the important things like being an entertainer.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of benefits, and maybe we're hung up by the word street. But in a sense, when you do these 30-minute lectures, and if you join the National Speakers Association and you get like 30-minute sets for various different memberships, societies, clubs, associations, I'm always using what I learned from, in brackets, street hypnosis, because as you say, it's if they want a dynamic, motivational or inspirational speaker, which I've been called upon to do as a hypnotist, and there's another dimension to making money with this, is inspirational or motivational speaker. I fall back straight onto what I know, which is really going out and doing street hypnosis, but obviously inside a ballroom. So, it has many applications, right? Lots of dimensions to it. Yeah. All right, Shawn, well, we'll wrap this up. We got a good crowd on here today to come and see you, so your following is still there, buddy. And looking forward to seeing you on the Powerhouse Summit. And thank you for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, that was Shawn Michael Andrews, the world's fastest hypnotist. Nearly beaten by Lara Richards on the Hypnosis cruise last year. Nearly beaten by you, sucker.
I love it.
But it's good that
Richard, thank you so much for having me on, and I'm really looking forward to getting together with you in Dubuque, Iowa.
No worries. And for those that haven't met Shawn before, I tell you what, he is a blast and makes the training so worthwhile. So make sure you come along on the Powerhouse Summit. It's going to be the end of March, April. Check the links that I'm going to be posting. Any questions? Dr. Jim Wand is more than happy to answer them. I know Shawn is, and I know I am. And make sure you come on it. You don't want to miss this opportunity. This isn't going to be like repeated several times a year. We're only looking at maybe one a year, if that. So golden opportunity, right, Shawn, to get on there and get in there. Elevating your career to where you want to take it with this. So
it's going to be fun. It's going to be great.
All right, brother. Always a pleasure to see you, man.
All right.
Give my love to your wife, and speak to you soon. All right, buddy. Take care now.
Take care, Richard. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
No worries. Bye, mate.